Welcome to Align to Your Design. I'm your host, Baeth Davis. Isn't it time to wrap your business around your purpose and bring your greatest work to the world? Each week, join me as we explore various biometric tools such as human design and hand analysis and how to use them to fulfill your destiny and align to your design. We will reveal how to do the work you are designed to do rather than what you think you should do. Welcome, everybody. Hello, this is Baeth Davis, and you are listening and watching the Align to Your Design podcast, where I interview fascinating, interesting, unusual, creative people who I feel are aligned to their design and living their purpose full out in the world, being role models and examples of what that's like for others. And hopefully, when you tune into this show, you leave every time inspired with some new data or information that is practical that you can apply to your everyday life. Now, our guest today has been on quite a journey. She is a powerhouse of a woman who leads other women and men to find their power in their lives, in their home environments, and in their businesses. Her name is Tandy Pryor, and for more than a decade, she has helped her clients and audiences transform their lives and live more joyfully and make more money through her various skill sets. And one of the things she is known for is she empowers her clients to use their home or office as a vehicle for making radical shifts in their life and increasing their wealth, productivity, and peace of mind. Now, what's really cool is I'm in the process of working with Tandy now, and I'm not done with the process. So we're going to be able to share with you what's happened so far in this process in my life, which has been pretty amazing since I've been working with Tandy. So you're not going to want to miss this today. She has amazing intuitive advice and insights to help you set clearer boundaries, rediscover your personal power, and heal those past experiences and fears that may have stopped you. She has been called raw, transformative, hilarious, honest, refreshing, innovative, spot on, and spookily accurate. And I can attest to that. With that, let's bring on our guest, the incredible Tandy Pryor. Welcome, welcome to our show.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. What a nice introduction.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get into what you've done for me, but let's just let them wait a little bit more. So how did you get started with your coaching business? We have a lot of coaches that listen to the show and a lot of people that want to get into coaching. So will you talk about how that came about for you?
Yes, it was a road, but I feel like, and I know there's no feeling like it was a lifelong journey. I mean, I'm having people now that they know that I'm doing this talking about that I used to do it in high school and I didn't even realize it. But the road to actually doing it was pretty long and arduous. But at 50 years old, I had been doing real estate. I was divorced. I'd had a near-death experience. I'd had all kinds of financial issues from the divorce. And all along, I'd been taking coaching and doing my own personal development. And I just knew I had a call with a coach who literally asked me, how much longer are you going to hide? And I was in my basement hiding from my 3 kids that were upstairs. And it was such a metaphor. It was like, I can't hide anymore. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I had my first paying client. Wow. And I had turned 50 and I knew that the time had come.
Oh, that's just great.
Yeah.
That is great. So what's one thing that people don't realize about the coaching business?
I think that people don't really understand what true transformation is, or they'd be lining up. And you've got all different types of coaches. Not all coaches are transformational coaches. But I think if people understood what coaching really is about and had a good coach and how many areas of your life can shift, I think that is one thing. And also when you talk about coaches wanting to get into coaching. I remember in a class, the teacher, the coach was teaching a class, and it was David Nagel, actually, somebody, and he talked about that our job as coaches is to turn a need into a want.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so like, wow, it's the truth, because people aren't walking down the street going, hey, I want transformation, right? They want to be happier. They want to make more money. They've got all those, but they don't exactly know how to do it. So they just go through life tolerating.
Yeah, they really do. They really tolerate so much
Yeah, too much.
that they don't need to tolerate.
Yeah.
So what's something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
About me,
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a very strong personality, and I came in like that. And now, after working with human design with you, I understand that 3420 and the 3-5. And I can come into a room and split it. And before you understand that, it can be really hard, because the same thing that people are attracted to, they'll automatically could be the opposite too. And it
Mm-hmm.
happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does happen. And we'll talk about that today, the 3420 and the 3-5. For those of you new to human design, one of the things we do with our guests is we look at every guest chart if they'll let us. And of course, that's sort of contingent on them being on the show. We get to look at their chart. So Tandy just referred to the 3420 channel and the 3-5 profile. We will touch on that because a lot of the listeners will have these things in their design and or know people that do. And it's just fascinating to me to see the person, you, and then look at a chart, which is a map. You're not the chart. As the saying goes, the map is not the territory. You're the territory. The map is to give you guidance. So we'll have a look at that. So will you share? Go ahead. You were going to say something. What were you
I
going to
was
say?
going to say, I think that's so important that you said that, because I want to say that I look at this like a tool, like there's other modalities. It's a tool, and I see people use it for dysfunction too. And you are always so clear that it is just a tool and a guide and a way of living, right? But you can't use it to stay in your stuff. Like
Right.
I see
Right.
people take things like that, and you're so good about making sure that that doesn't happen. And that's really important for me, because again, it comes down to your personal responsibility and how you take the information.
That's right. That's right. And to not use the information as an excuse to keep learning more information rather than applying it.
Yeah. And just stay stuck.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
people can use anything to stay stuck. It's incredible.
Mhm.
As we know. So
True.
so I want to talk about what you have been doing with me and so many clients, because I'm getting chills just this process. I could cry. I want, first of all, I'm so satisfied, which is my signature as a generator. Like everything in my life is satisfying. My health, my body, my hair even is cooperating. Like it's like everything, like I'm having mostly good hair days, to be totally superficial, but I'm having good hair days. The process that you have undertaken with me, and we're still in the midst of it, so we have more to do. But will
Mhm.
you share with our audience what you're doing with me in my physical space, and then maybe share about one of your other clients where they've had something happen they didn't expect, and then we can get more into what you're doing with me.
Yeah. So I think, just to give a real quick background, the basis of what I do is I learned while I was in real estate post-divorce and doing all the coaching training and all that. I brought in that I was drawn after the near-death experience to do all of this healing work, and the Feng Shui showed up, which I didn't know anything about it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. So it's instinctive Feng Shui from Denise Lin, who's a Hay House author. And that is kind of how I started. And I've had
Mm,
many training, BTB, some training, which is Black Hat Sect, Feng Shui. And then this innate, I have no idea why I'm so intuitive in physical spaces, but that's the truth. So the basis, kind of the guiding thing, is this instinctive Feng Shui, but the way I work and apply it is different. It's not design. It is, I connect people to their physical space, that it's an intimate relationship, and people in their space are intimately connected. And I use it to coach people through. It speaks to me. Like your house, your physical space is, and the things in it are a cluster of items or things that tell a story about who you are, where you've been, what you're about, might show values, what you love. It could show your religious background, but it will always show me where you're blocked from what you say you want. I can see the blocks, and how to unstick that. Like, and then together we create where you're going. So it shows the present and the past, and then together we create the future using the physical space. And it also works for business. You know, I mean, this is the business breakthroughs come through the office, and actually the home space oftentimes.
Wow. So true. So when we met
Mhm.
around this, I sent you pictures
Mhm.
from the entryway into the space, the different rooms. I live in a 2-bedroom townhome, so it's pretty good size. It's about maybe 1,400 square feet of living space. So
Uh-huh.
there's weird layout, right? It's not a perfect rectangle. So there's one room that goes out over the garage next to the stairs, and then there's the rest of the apartment sort of towards the back because I'm on the top floor. My environment is mountains in human design, so I need to live on the top floor. So I'm on the top floor of my building, which is great. So I've always got a view. And I walked you through, I showed you the pictures, and then we did a little walkthrough, and then we got on Zoom, and you made suggestions for each of the spaces. Move this here, try this color here, get rid of that stuff, put this remedy here. For example, the crystals at the front door, right? So I got these big 8-inch round balls and hung them by the front door. And you can explain in a minute what that's about. But anyway, that was my experience, is walking through the different aspects of the home, seeing how different parts of the home activate different things in my life. Like one area, the front office that was like the junk room that I hadn't gotten to was actually my career and
Yes.
business space, which I'm
Where
now
you need to
in.
be. Yes. Yes.
And it's a work in progress. But one of the things you said to me was to get a map and put it across where I can see it. So I went to an antique store, Tandy, and I got this. It was $100 at the antique store, and the frame alone is a $300 frame. And it's a gold foil ancient, the dual circle maps, and it has astrology in it, and it has Greek gods and goddesses in it. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'll post below the podcast a picture of it so people can see it.
Oh, I
And
can't wait to see it.
and it's right across from where I'm sitting. I was going to put it behind me, but then I realized it would reflect the light and be annoying on Zoom. So you said put a map across. So there's a map there. I've got the new black ceramic curtain rod waiting for the new long 108-inch drapes. And I'm going piece by piece, and I'm checking things off that list. We had a 4-page list. So I've been working my way through the corrections. And the other thing I want to say to the audience, and then I want you to talk about it, is this hasn't been expensive. This hasn't like broken my bank account. Working with you is reasonable. You don't undercharge, but it's affordable. It's not like a $20,000 design fee, which is where most designers start. Like it's 10 or 20 grand just to get started. It was not with you. It was a very reasonable investment, but it was enough of an investment. Like I'm going to pay attention to what she has to say.
Yeah.
And your instructions were crystal clear. I'll share later what's happened since, but I would love for you to talk about how you develop this process. That's the first question. And then we'll go from there. I have more questions, but how did you develop this process you took me through? Because I am loving it.
It was over time. It was over time. And there's a real important distinction here that I need to make. I am not a designer.
Right.
You do not want me picking colors out. I pay people to pick colors out. And some people talk about my blue behind me. I had to embrace blue. This is the only shade I really like because I'm all about the fire. So I had to bring the water in. So it's a balance like that, which brings me to what I really wanted to talk about with your map. It's beautiful that you put that up. There's a reason I said a map. Not everybody needs to have a map, but we talked about it and I could see that. But You brought your intention in and you waited and the right thing showed up. That is what's so critical with this. It's your intention. It's not, I'm a guide with it, but it's instinctive feng shui honors that you intuitively know what's best for your space. And Denise Lynn
Mm-hmm.
is, amazing at teaching that. And I've taken it and put my own spin on it. And it really is the personal breakthroughs, the business breakthroughs that come from connecting you with your environment to the degree that I have been shown. And that is all guided. Like I got started into this. I actually went into coaching from doing the feng shui because I could see that every time I was doing that, I was coaching. But here's a true thing for this interview. I left a lot of the intuition, a lot of my skills that I developed in order to be a coach 9 years ago. I decided I followed what other people told me to do. I had to be a business coach. I left a lot of this. And this work with you has given me the next level of permission of bringing this forward even more. It's been back there.
Yeah.
And if you followed me for years, you would see it, but it's kind of, and instead of that, it's like up and center now because it needs to be seen and heard in the world. It's important and it's transformational.
Yeah, it really is. It's extraordinary. Well, I'm glad that you've brought it, you brought it back into the mix.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, let's talk about love, money, and business. So about my love life. Most of our listeners are aware that has been, it's a humorous thing. I'm glad I can laugh about it, but it's definitely been my life lesson has been intimacy. And now that I understand my design, I also have compassion for why it's been my lesson, because people project so much stuff on me that I haven't always made the best choices. I misunderstood the information coming to me from my environment. Everyone needs to learn what we're talking about here in school. But needless to say, it's been very challenging, although I have no regrets. I've learned so much. After the last relationship, which for a lot of it was good and it was right for the time in my life, but it came to an ending and it needed to end. We had completed our contract, if you will, and it took me a while to recover from that ending and really integrate the lessons. Come this past fall, okay, I want to start dating again. And right around the time I started working with you, I had met someone. And I said to you, I really feel good about this connection. And I really want to ensure that we can deepen the connection. And so you had suggested to me to put some things in the romance corner. And the color in there was like pink and red. And I already had a salmon pink couch I had just gotten delivered a couple months before. So that was helpful. But he'd given me this beautiful gift. So I put it there in that corner. And not too long after, he and I sat in that very corner and had the conversation about being exclusive right in that corner.
I've
And
got
we
chills.
and we
That's creating the space.
we
That's what it is.
created this space and it was so wonderful. We had turned the flames on the TV because I don't have my new fireplace installed yet. So we had flames on YouTube crackling in the background and candles. And neither one of us drinks alcohol. I mean, occasionally I'll have a sip, but we were drinking our iced coffee at 10 at night. And we were sitting cross-legged facing one another on this couch, and we had easily a 3 or 4 hour conversation that went all over the place. And I just said to him at some point where it was natural to ask, I go, hey, what about Tinder? And he brought up his phone and he showed me the app and took a screenshot and hit delete. Didn't even say anything. And then I did the same. And we did it right in front of each other,
That is what
and
happens. That's when intent. And
it blew me away.
I could see it in my mind's eye, that room and all of that. And you did, I mean, it is a little, I mean, there's a little magic involved. And when you use your intention and you use the physical items that represent what you want to bring in, it really is. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And then I moved into my new office. The frame on that map has the same matte color as the new carpet. And yeah, it's, and the frame itself is black and gold, as you suggested. Like it was like custom made. And I walked into the antique store and went, oh, that I have to have that. And I was with the guy I'm dating, and he said, oh, you got to get that. He said, you're going to buy that, right? I said, oh, yes. And he, of course, he's 6'5". He carried it to my car like it was a, a paper bag, and it weighs, I don't know how much it weighs, 100 pounds or whatever. But I moved into this office I'm sitting in now, and we had a recent launch, and we did almost, I haven't since last count, but 85,000 in sales
Yeah.
since I moved in. And some new coaching clients, private clients have come on board, and they just wired the money. Go, yeah, I want to keep working with you, or Beth, I'm ready to start working with you. I'm like, okay. So it's been very abundant, very in flow since I moved into this space as well. So those two things in particular,
That
wonderful.
is like, that's wonderful. And those are
Mhm.
some really good results. What can you say? I mean, that's how it works. You've seen those other testimonials. It does. And it takes an open mind, and it takes really clear intention, and it takes implementation.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
process.
not hard, and it's not
No,
hard implementation.
no,
But
it's
if
just being
there's
patient.
resistance, yeah, there can be resistance. Like if you have a room that always has clutter in it, if you have, those types of things, that can be bigger, that
Mhm.
can be a bigger thing. Yeah, because that is a block. Clutter is anything unloved, unused, it's stagnant energy. So
So
yeah,
tell us about a client that you've done this for and they got an unexpected result.
I helped somebody create another bedroom and another love space, relationship space. And not only did she bring a partner in, but she realized that she did not like men anymore. And that was one.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big realization.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was all part of the whole thing, but it was like creating a space for that transformation to come
Mhm.
through. I've had someone, I was thinking about this when you said, what's one thing that where I helped somebody and something happened. Like I was with a client at an event, and she had a booth, and I had stopped by, and I was standing with someone else that knew her, and we didn't know that each of us knew her. And he says to me, she's completely unrecognizable from 3 years ago. And she did work with me for 3 years, off and on, kind of coaching and transforming. She was unrecognizable. So it was wasn't just a physical change, it was the transformation of powerlessness to empowered, and how
Mm.
that showed up. And physically, like everything about her business changed. But to have somebody on the outside that didn't know we were working together say she is unrecognizable, that was a big one.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Congratulations on making that impact,
Thank you.
because
It's
you really are making a wonderful impact.
Yeah, it's interesting work. And it always, sometimes always like, what if it's not going to work? It's never not worked. It's always every single
It
time.
always works.
But there is formulaic within me, but it's guided. It's
Yeah.
divinely guided.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. All right. So why don't we have a look at your chart? And
Okay.
before we do, I want to tell people where to go. Go to tandypryorcoaching.com/tribe, and it will take you to Tandy's amazing Facebook group, and you can reach out to Tandy directly if you'd like to work with her. It will be in the show notes, and it will be sent out to all of our subscribers. But again, the link is Tandy, Tandy Pryor, Pryor coaching, tandypryorcoaching.com/tribe. And that will take you to Tandy's amazing Facebook group. She does weekly shows in there. Anything else you want to say about the Facebook group and why people want to
I've
drop
been
by?
doing all kinds of fun stuff in there. Now I have a specific Feng Shui Friday. So we
Ooh.
talk just about Feng Shui. And then Tuesday, I teach about coaching mindset, and I answer some Q&A, some questions that people have sent in. So I really try to give good content in there.
Oh, it's
So
great.
yeah, so I'm super excited about that group. It's growing. It's growing because the content's good. People are referring people like crazy. I had 3 today. So
Oh,
I
I love
love
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we're going to look at your human design chart. And as I always ask a guest before the show what they want to talk about. So we're going to talk about your incarnation cross, which includes that 3420 channel, and your profile, the
Yeah.
3-5. So I'm
Yes.
going to bring that up on the screen for all of us to have a look. So for those of you new to the show, this advanced rave chart overview is from Maya Mechanics Imaging. It's a software available from Jovian Archive, and I'm licensed to use the software. So it runs these detailed reports, which is great for doing human design readings and studies. We're going to talk about Tandy's profile with Tandy here, which is great because we can get feedback in real time, and Tandy's incarnation cross. Now, for all of you in your designs, profile is what Ra Uru Hugh, who downloaded this system, calls the costume of your purpose. And the incarnation cross is the expression. The profile is the behavioral vehicle that you're designed to use for this incarnation cross to manifest. It is not guaranteed that people will fulfill their incarnation cross. However, it is the goal. And the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix is very interesting, Tandy. And I want to pause for a moment. We'll come back to the chart. You have the incarnation cross that is the new frequency we're moving into in 2027.
I know.
So, so your incarnation and all of the other people on the planet that have that incarnation cross are already electrically wired to this new frequency coming in. And these frequencies move in huge cycles and then smaller cycles, 411-year cycles. We're ending a cycle of tribal organization, to really simplify it. And that would include here in the United States things like the Postal Service, firefighters, and police, and public school systems. And we're watching all of that just disintegrate before our very eyes. And I hate to break it to people, it's not coming back. I tried to talk to my sister about this last night, and she just kept saying to me, I don't know what you're talking about. So, I said, I'll send you some audios and it'll explain it. But we're going through this huge shift, and you carry this frequency of the new 411-year cycle we move into in 2027, which is all about individual expression, creative fulfillment, and sexual fulfillment. It's basically sensual and creative and
Oh,
individual. We're moving out of tribal, everything for the tribe. How does this serve the most people? What's best for the masses? That's actually falling away as a consciousness. So all the people born under this current cross, which started in 1615, they will all carry that frequency. Even you will carry it because we were born under it. So we've come to expect, though, that this is how the world is. And this is not how the world is all the time. It's just during this transit, this cycle. So you are an embodiment of individual creative expression, sensual fulfillment, dietary fulfillment. The sleeping phoenix is about the spirit being fulfilled. Right? You have 55, 59 in there. Gate 55, we'll look at it in a minute, but gate 55 is the abundance of spirit. And
yeah.
gate 59 is sexuality and all that it can create. So it isn't just about sex. We know sex was set up, the whole way sex works is so we'll procreate. Hence the design of sex to get us to do it a lot. I mean, the nature's ingenious, isn't it? And do it even when you don't want children, because that's the nature of the body. So it's very, very sensual. And then you have this 3420 channel, which isn't sensual. It is very much about I have to take what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and I have to turn it into something so that thoughts and words must become deeds. So anyone with a 3420, they tend to put their money where their mouth is, and they follow through. It's a rare, it's a rare 3420 that doesn't follow through. Like usually they're very, very conditioned and don't understand themselves. Because I know a lot of people with the 3420, and I'll bring up your chart, and you're all go-getters, you really
Yeah.
are. So here's your design. 3420 goes up like that. 34 off the sacral, so it's a sacral or sex chakra powered force. It's the only gate off the sacral that isn't particularly sexual or sensual, interestingly enough. It doesn't have that sex energy to it. It is pure creative power that's driving towards the throat. This is the only manifesting generator channel there is, a direct channel from the sacral to the throat. And the 20 is the voice of the now. So when you speak in the now, Tandy, when you're doing an interview like today, or when you're helping me or another client with their space, there's a magic that pours through you in the moment from the sacral. It's an instinct. I don't think I've ever described this well. Gate 34 picks up the sound frequency in the environment, and it travels that channel to your throat, and you're able to translate what the sound is telling you or what the sensation is telling you about the space. And then you just say it. This is not a mental process. So you can't explain to people how you learned that or how you know that, because it isn't knowing in the normal sense. I mean, knowing is from the neocortex. Knowing is a mental function, which is fine. But you can see that your mind is undefined. There's stuff happening up there. There's some stuff happening in your mind, but that's not where your power is. Your power is instinctive power. So the 3420 is part of this sleeping phoenix incarnation cross. And all the people on this planet that have the 3420, there's an element to your circuitry where you receive an impulse that you don't understand until you speak it. You receive an impulse you do not understand until you speak it. And even then, you may not understand it, but it turns out to be useful or true or highly creative. Because remember, 34 is creative power. It wants to create beauty. It wants to create more symmetry. It wants to create music in the world and harmony, and it wants to make people happy and fill them with laughter. It is 34 is this power to come alive in the moment, to come alive more fully. And so when I have chills, so when you're with people, your body knows instinctively what will help that person become more alive. The 34 knows that. And the 20 can then translate it in the moment. And you may find yourself saying things like, this doesn't make much sense, but the hit I'm getting is, or I've
Yeah,
never suggested this to anyone before, but I think you need to put XYZ in the corner of that room.
I say that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
it's
is the
true.
gift.
Yeah.
That's the gift. And then the 55 here, which is your core genius is the abundance of spirit, line 5, which happens to be the voice, according to Richard Rudd and his interpretations of human design. When we're talking design earth, which he refers to as core genius, the various lines 1 through 6 activate different parts of the body. And then, of course, the gate is the theme. So 55 is the abundance of spirit. In line 5, it's the voice. So again, you activate people's abundance, and particularly the abundance of their spirit, right? Because feeling abundant is much more than money. Abundance is a feeling of, for me, speaking for me, abundance is a feeling of relaxation, safety and security. Now, safety and security have never been super high needs of mine, except emotionally. So I know I'm feeling abundant when I feel emotionally secure in my relationships. That's abundance for me. Because if I get that right, my nervous system stays very relaxed, and then I'm able to do the other things. I've always been pretty good with money. I've always had money. I understand how to make money. I've known since I was 10 years old. You work, and you hopefully work at something you're good at, and you will always have money. So I've always had my own money since I was 10. You know? So that wasn't the biggest issue, but my abundance was this abundance of emotional security. And you, in using your voice, have helped me to create that in my life and understand that that's where my abundance comes from. So your genius is helping people through the use of your voice to come to know what really makes them feel abundant. And sometimes it's money. I mean, for
Not
some people, right? If they've had financial insecurity most of their life, or they grew up in a poor neighborhood, and then they suddenly have money, like that can be oh, yeah, it feels so abundant. So that's that. And then 59, also in line 5, this is what keeps you healthy. And 59 line 5 is, well, let's just say Gina Lola Brigidas of the world, the Sophia Lorenz, the J Lo,
Okay.
right? Like it's this gorgeous magnetic beauty that you have. And men feel this from you. Like they feel you when you walk in the room. It's like, oh, and you can harness it because it's line 5. It's a leadership kind of energy. So if I were coaching you, and this isn't a coaching session, but if I were coaching you,
Go ahead.
I would encourage you, because 55 and 59 are where it's at in terms of what you do for people. You help them become abundant in whatever that definition is for them, and you help them awaken their sexuality. But more than just sex, it's sex plus intimacy. And line 5 is being a leader. So this charisma you have, and the 3420 channel is the charisma channel as well, or the busyness channel. People are attracted to your busyness and your productivity. The 59.5 is being a leader, line 5, a leader in this intimacy movement. So I would really encourage you in your marketing to let people know that you help them activate abundance and intimacy in their lives. Because let's face it, that's mostly what people want. The majority of humans, I'd say 70%, those are the generators and manifesting generators of the world. The two things they want are great work and great love. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
And
Well,
well-meaning friends, usually in relationships, not single people, but people in relationships would always give me really useless advice like, just let it go and it will happen. I'm like, no, nothing in my life works that way. Thanks so much. But when I just let stuff go, nothing happens because of my human design. I have to be super proactive and mega intentional. I'm like, no, I'm going to keep kissing frogs because I know there's someone there for me and I'm not giving up. And good relationship coaches, on the other hand, would say the people who have the most successful relationships approach it like anything else in life where you have success. They try, and try again, and they don't quit and they don't settle. And that's
yeah.
the advice that I took. So all my well-meaning friends are like, oh, just let it go. You're too hung up about it. I'm like, you don't understand who I am. That just tells me you don't even know what matters to me.
Yeah.
Like my life, I feel like a limb is missing when I'm single. Like I can do it, but it's not correct for me to be single. It's not correct in my design to be single. And yet I'm great at it. I know how to do it.
Hmm.
So you're the kind of person that affirms all that for people. That like the woman who found out, oh, I don't really want to be with men anymore. I'm going to call in a different kind of partner.
Yeah.
That's huge. You see how you do this, Tandy? Is this making sense what I'm saying? I'm so excited sharing this with you and the audience because I just think it's so profound what you do in your purpose.
Yes. And seeing it this way just affirms it in a different way than the way I see it
Yeah,
or have seen it.
exactly. So I want to finish with just talking about the 3-5 profile.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to stop the share there so we can talk about it. So the 3 is the martyr, the 5 is the heretic. In practical terms, I think of it as the strategic leader. The 3-5 is the strategic leader. People come to you for strategy. Exactly what you've done with me. Strategy is here's what we're going to do, why we're going to do it, and here's how you do it, and here are the steps.
Yeah.
And what it does then, your strategy activates leadership and power and others. So whatever is true in your design is what you do for the other. It's what you bring to the other. Right? How you motivate people is how you get motivated. When you're in your correct energy and your profile being this strategic leader, you help leaders be more strategic to get incarnation cross of the sleeping phoenix, right? Because the sleeping phoenix wakes up. And so what you do is you awaken the firebird, right? The phoenix is the firebird.
I
You
love it.
awaken the firebird in others and in yourself. And the more it awakens in you, the more you awaken it in others.
Wow.
Because it's sleeping until you come along. These things are dormant. Right? Like the woman had to rearrange her room to realize, oh, I need a different kind of partner.
Yeah.
I didn't realize even that I had energy blocked. was completely unknown to me until you pointed it out to me. Oh, your office is currently where your unpacked boxes are sitting. You might want to change that, Beth. And well, flap, 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 up, open the wings, right?
Right.
So you might want to bring that Firebird into your marketing because you're so fiery, and let people
Oh, I like
know I
that.
activate the phoenix in you. I awaken the sleeping phoenix in you so you can fly.
I like that.
And what's cool about the
Because of-
Firebird is it flies and it burns up, but then it rises again. See? So your life is a series of crash and burn, rise, crash and burn,
has been.
rise.
Yeah, mine
But it's
has
not
been.
even meant to be painful. It's just you just disintegrate into ash and then you rise again. And that's what you do for people. You show people endings don't have to be bad. They just turn to ash and then you build something new. And I've had houses burn down, things flood. And people are like, "Oh, that's so terrible." I'm like, "No, it really wasn't." I'm not that attached to material things. So it really wasn't. I one of the houses that burned down, that house was so ugly and I was planning to rebuild it. And it just burned to the ground. And it was like, "Oh, okay. Well, the nature took care of it for us." It was a wildfire, just the house just obliterated. It was obliterated. But that's the Phoenix experience, right? Like something happens, people around you might be, "Oh, that's so awful." It's like, "No, it's fine." And that's how you are. Like, "No, it's fine. It's just ashes. Let's see what wants to grow from the mulch." And you do that for people. You awaken the sleeping Phoenix in people's lives so that they can experience abundance and intimacy beyond their wildest dreams.
Well, I love that.
hmm
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, any final thoughts for our listeners and watchers today?
Right off the top of my head, I'm really taking in what you said, and I'm like, oh, I love it. I love human design. I love your interpretation of it and how to implement it. It's wonderful. And I think it's the same as like what I was talking about with you within your space. It really
hmm
comes to intentions.
That's right.
Yeah. And that, we didn't talk about the gate 18, but that's a big part too about removing what's spoiled, like making
Yes.
sure that you don't have things around you that are energetically not a fit.
That's right.
All of it. So thank you. I think I'm complete on everything. Oh, was wonderful. It was
Oh,
so
thank
rich.
you.
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys it. I
Oh, I'm
mean,
sure they did. And
yeah.
I'm sure they will. Share this podcast. If you like it, leave us a review. Thank you, Tandy, for your time today. This was a delight.
Thank you so much for having me and for the opportunity. It was wonderful.
You're so welcome. Bye, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Aligned to Your Design. If you did, please grab my free report, Business by Design, at yourpurpose.com, and then join our Facebook group, Align to Your Design. See you next time.